what Stephen A. Smith is trying to do is he's trying to take his style of trash talking, not knowing what he's talking about, but trash talking for entertainment. He's taking it to politics. And just like Joe Rogan said with MMA is too much of a real sport. It's real life. These people, he said, they're naked in a literal sense and in a figurative sense. Vulnerable on the field, on the mat, in front of millions of people, in front of their family, in front of their kids, getting their ass whooped. Like, your son got to see you get your tail whooped. Your wife got to see you get your tail whooped. That's different from you getting your shot blocked or getting the ball stolen from you or missing a game-winning shot. You still get to go home as a man. But if another man dominates you in the ring, I've seen men get knocked out and laid on top of and not lit up and have to tap out. Do you know how demoralizing it could be for someone to go home to a lady that they supposed to protect, knowing the whole world just seeing you get your lunch ate, including your kid, and you think they go stand and hear Stephen A. Smith telling them they quit and talking trash and not knowing nothing about the sport and can't fight? Stephen A. Smith got out of MMA to save his own life. I really believe that. Somebody would have knocked this man out. He had to get out of MMA. So he's trying to take that to politics. And politics is too much of a real life situation to have a clown in it using talking points and rhetoric and entertainment. It's not a circus, dog. Like, real life people has been affected by this. They got to push him out of politics ASAP. So Stephen A. Smith, I wasn't going to cover this one, right? I honestly didn't want to, because I'm like, man, this is a sports channel, and this is similar. I mean, this is like tiptoeing the lines of politics, and I don't want to get into it, man, but it's involving Stephen A. Smith, man, and I see what he's doing, right? So if you've ever heard me talk about Stephen A. Smith whenever he has been going on his rants about Kwame Brown, going on his rants about Kyrie Irving, he even tried Kawhi Leonard, right? So what Stephen A. Smith does is okay, this thing is a layered thing, so let me unpack it a little bit. On one hand, Stephen A. Smith is like a hired gun for his bosses. He always talk about his bosses, my bosses, my bosses, the bosses, the bosses, the bosses, right? He's always talking about the bosses. How can I make my bosses some money and how can I figure out a way to get some of it? Like, that's his. Every day I wake up in the morning thinking about how I can make my bosses more money and how I can get a piece of it. That's what he said. He said that multiple times, and he think that sounds legit, right? That's his thought process, right? So the bosses is big for him. He's a hired gun for them. They're not giving him all that contract money just to entertain and boost ratings for ESPN, right? You know, you should get paid a lot less just for entertainment. You have to do a little something else for us. So on one hand, he boosts ratings and he's entertaining for ESPN. On the other hand, he's a hired gun to say things that needs to be said about players to get them, I guess, back in line, right? So when Kyrie Irving was out of line, Stephen A. Smith was the catalyst of attacking his brother and getting other people to come and join and pile on and attack him. Like, Stephen A. Smith was very instrumental in that. So I think he says things that his bosses or the billionaires want to say but can't say because, you know, they're just not in the position to say it. And quite frankly, it's going to sound racist coming from a white man, right? So Stephen A. Smith says these things. He knows that he's a hired mouth. He knows this. So he's very good at it. You know, man, hey, man, Kyrie don't want to take that jab, and we don't need more people thinking like him. He's a leader, and people might follow him. We don't need people thinking like him. Man, Stephen A. Smith, I got you, boss. He got out there and did his job, right? You know, so that's what he's on. Well, anyway, he's trying to get into politics. You know, he's been teasing that he might in the future run for presidency. I don't know if he got any other aspiration as far as politics. I don't know if he's going to try to get into politics some other way, before he try to run for president. I don't know if he's going to take the Arnold Schwarzenegger route and try to be a governor, right? A mayor or something like that. I don't know what his route to presidency is. I hope it's not unpopular. I'm just going to run, but I mean that's what Trump did. So maybe there's a pathway for that. But he's trying to get into politics, and he's always tried to venture into other things. Where I mean, you're so good at being a hired mouth in the sports realm. I wonder if it works in other areas. So politics is where he's going to try it, and he's been on all types of Fox News panels and CSNBC panels and stuff like that, just talking. And it's not intelligent politics that he's talking. He's not. I mean, he's got the gift of gab. He can make it sound like he know what he's talking about, but he really don't. And he just goes into his theatrics, and he goes into talking, and what he does best is he finds a target, he finds a person, and he just talks down or diminishes them. And he does it really good. Oh, I mean, I can't talk politics. I can't talk or the bills that you wrote or what laws you wrote or what you wrote that it turned into a law. I can't talk that. But I can sit here and talk trash and talk junk to you or talk junk about you. And which is what he did to Jasmine Crockett, who represents Texas, right? She's a representative for Texas, and Stephen A. Smith went in on her. And that was crazy. I'm going to play for you what he said.
How Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia.
Yeah.
So that's how he talked about the Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. And what he didn't know because he said this on a Thursday or Friday, and over the weekend he just got drugged in the media by people that was speaking up for Jasmine Crockett. And basically what he's saying is, oh, you ain't doing up but going on TV talking bad about Trump. That's not work. You're not working. He literally said, you're not working. That's not work. That's not work. Why don't you try to figure out how you can work with Trump? Listen, in her opinion, and a lot of people that are on her side opinion, they feel like what they're fighting against with what this regime is doing is worthy of speaking out against. Right. So if that's the most detrimental thing to the country right now, you have to speak out against it. I'm not trying to figure out what I can get for my state, because if we don't act fast and how they believe, if they don't act fast, it ain't gonna be no democracy or no constitution left to do anything with. So I can't figure out, how much I can get. I can't wake up in the morning and figure out how I can get my boss's money and how I can get a piece of it. That's not my thought process. I got a whole country to worry about, not just Texas. Like, this country is in a tough space right now, right? So here's where it comes back to sports, right? So what Stephen A. Smith is trying to do is he's trying to take his way and style of talking about players. I'm not going to talk X's and O's with basketball, but I can tell you need to stay off the weed. I can tell you that you're trash. I can tell you that Kwame Brown, I could do all of that and do the theatrics and say, oh, man, Kwame Brown's got traded. Who cares who we got? Kwame Brown is gone. You can do all of that. You could say Kyrie Irving should retire today. Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar the NBA has ever seen. He does nothing for his organization. Like, come on, this is trash way of talking about the sport. And he's trying to take that style to politics. Here's the funny thing. Here how it comes back to sports. Before he went to politics, he was trying to figure out other avenues or other circles he could get in, because I guess he feel like he's outgrowing where he's at with ESPN. Like, you know, he's been doing this for years. I want to do something fresh and new. Can I take this style somewhere else? Do y'all remember when he tried to call a couple of boxing matches and a couple of MMA matches? Right? Let me dress it up for you. Conor McGregor is fighting a guy named Cowboy. Two great fighters. Conor McGregor whooped his tail, broke his orbital bone, broke his nose, you know, had some facial damage. I mean, he was pretty jacked up. And I think he ended up submitting or something like that, right? Well, Stephen A. Smith, not knowing nothing about MMA, ESPN thought it was a good idea for ratings if we put the loudmouth, bass mouth, receding Airline, Hairline, Stephen A. Smith side by side with Joe Rogan, who knows what MMA and fighting is all about, to call the match. And Joe Rogan was in awe most of the time, just at the stupid stuff Stephen A. Smith was saying. And after the match, I think that there was like, Joe Rogan was talking about what he think happened. The other guy said what he think happened. And then Stephen A. Smith turned, instead of him speaking technical to what happened in the match, he comes out and say, flat out, Cowboy quit. I mean, it was pathetic. He quit. And Joe Rogan was like, what the hell? But before he even said he quit, they asked him, what did we learn about Conor McGregor, who won the match? What did we learn? Oh, we learned absolutely nothing about him. The fight was too short. We didn't learn anything. And Joe Rogan was like, I disagree. What are you talking about? Are you serious? We learned a lot. And he started naming all the stuff. Like, we learned that he can take a long 2-year layoff and come back and do that. He just named all the stuff he learned. And Joe Rogan was just like, man, who man is this? He think he can go and talk about those fighters the way he talk about Kyrie, Kawhi, and Kwame Brown. Right? So listen to how Joe Rogan responded to that on his podcast.
I was upset at Stephen A. Smith, and then he made a video responding to me.
Come on.
Listen, Stephen A. Smith, I guess I should respond, right? You're a very entertaining guy. I like you a lot. And I appreciate the props you gave me in that video, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
Cowboy got fucked up with those shoulders in the clinch. Like, I could see if someone has a peripheral understanding of the sport and you see that happening, like, come on, man. Or even guys like Mike Bisping. Like, Mike Bisping was like, fucking shoulder strikes. Come on, shoulder strikes. But that said, Mike Bisping is without a doubt one of the toughest human beings that's ever walked the face of the planet. He's like, but Stephen A. Smith said that he felt like Cowboy quit. He did not quit. He got smashed.
You can't say someone quit after getting their nose broke and rocked and a broken orbital. You can't say he quit.
It's also who you're talking about. You're talking about a guy who has the most fights in the UFC, the most finishes in the UFC, the most head kick knockouts in the UFC, the most bonuses in the UFC. Cowboy is a fucking legend. He is as tough as they come. He's lost before. Every human can lose, especially you're fighting guys like Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal and these fucking animals that he's fighting. He's fighting the cream of the crop, or Conor. And Conor literally broke his face. He broke his nose and he broke his orbital bone. So Stephen A. Smith responded, and then Conor responded. And
I seen that.
Conor told him to apologize. Yeah. And Conor's right.
Yeah, he is right.
I think the problem is Stephen A. Smith, who's a very entertaining guy and is very knowledgeable about other sports. This is not his wheelhouse. And also that style of dismissing athletes and putting people down. Like,
that's how he kind of made his name.
That's how he made his name. And it's fun to listen to. He's a fun guy to listen to.
Yeah.
He talks great shit. I just think that this sport demands more appreciation, more respect, and it demands a higher level of reverence to the athletes who literally put their lives on the line. It's different.
So that's how they undress Stephen A. Smith. So basically what ended up happening is they talked so bad about Stephen A. Smith. They called him out so early and often. and so detailed on why it's bad for the sport to have someone like him in it that don't know nothing about it. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Like, he don't know nothing about MMA, but they thought ESPN thought it was going to be a good idea to throw him out there and think that since he got the gift of gab and he can just talk trash and kind of weave his way through conversation, that whatever he don't know, he can just cover up with loud talking and screaming and antics and theatrics. MMA ain't the place for that. It's not the place for that. And Joe Rogan explained that quite clear, right? So ultimately what ended up happening is they ran Stephen A. Smith out of there because he really, like, he expressed that he wanted to get into calling MMA, and he wanted to get into that. And they ran him out, was like, no, you can't. You cannot. So they ran him out of their circle. MMA is for us. Give us somebody else that knows the sport. We could do without the entertainment. Take that junk somewhere else. Go do that on ESPN with basketball and football. Don't come over here with that nonsense with that Airline, Hairline. Don't do it. We don't want to see you. And he never came back. I think that what needs to happen in the political circle is they need to do the same exact thing. The reason why I don't think they're going to do it is because I think he appears to be useful to a certain side of the house, right? A certain side seemed like he might be useful. We can use his mouthpiece. We can use his mouthpiece to do to other black candidates what he did to Kwame Brown and Kyrie Irving. So I think instead of them running him out of the circle for not knowing shit what he talking about, because I mean, honestly, it's a lot of people in politics that just starting to sound very dumb. So I mean, he might fit right in. I think that he's going to be sticking around for a little while, just doing what he do. So just look forward to however he talked about Kwame and Kyrie and Kawhi Leonard and whoever, and Kevin Durant and whoever he talked about. Just look forward to seeing him do it in the political circle, right? I'm gonna play one more sound bite because they didn't stop there. This was initially after that fight. They did a podcast. They talked about it, but after Stephen A. Smith posted that boxing session that he was training, I guess he was training the exercise, and he was hitting that the body bag, looking horrible, like that was his first time ever swinging. They had a good laugh at that, and they went in on him again.
So I looked at your Instagram yesterday, and you had that video of Stephen A. Smith, and immediately I was like, "Oh my goodness, this explains so much." Play this, play this, Jamie. Watch this. First of all, someone needs to explain to me what's happening here.
Yeah, it looks like a dick punch to the left.
I don't even think it's a dick, unless that guy's got a 2-foot dick. Look how low he's punching.
No idea, man.
This guy should not be allowed to talk about fighting.
This I can understand with Stephen A., but this is not what you want to release. After you just called someone who's a pioneer in the sport, you basically call him a quitter.
You call the guy a quitter. First of all, he had a broken orbital bone. Okay. You saying he was a quitter? He got his face smashed.
Yeah.
Okay. He got cracked by one of the biggest punchers in the sport.
Yeah.
He has the most wins in the sport. He has the most wins by finish. He has the most bonuses. I mean, come on. He has the most fights. Come on. You're calling that guy a quitter? He got cracked. That's what happens. There's the emotional cost of losing a fight is so much different than losing a game. It's not the same. And there's a culture in sports broadcasting, whether it's radio or television, this just diminishing of people. There's this shit talking that goes with sports. You know, he always falls apart. That guy, that motherfucker needs to give his money back. He sucks. He this and that. And the other guy's like, oh, I can't believe you're saying that. And you could do that in sports radio, and people love it. Because if you're on the job site and you're listening to the radio and you're fucking hammering nails, you're like, you're right, he does suck. And there's a mentality that goes along with that kind of sports radio, sports guy talk. I hate that shit. I've resisted that from the beginning, and I've shit on those guys from the beginning because it's not the same thing. You're not talking about the same thing. You're talking about fighting. You're talking about unbelievable physical consequences, including knock on wood in our sport, it's very rare, but death.
Yeah, no, it's true. But the other thing though too is that you're criticizing someone for being a quitter and someone who's been there on every level of the game.
Every level.
But not only that, but then you look like you've never played basketball or baseball or any other sport in your life either. Hit mitts like that. I'm sorry, so you cannot criticize people. And to be on the talk show, like you're saying, those talk show radios, that's the energy you need to bring when you're going against someone like Max Kellerman or any of the other, or Skip Bayless and those guys. Go ahead and have that conversation with them. But you can't look like that.
They clowning him.
I'm sorry, man.
That culture, the culture of the sport. Look, Max Kellerman is a different animal. Max Kellerman is incredibly knowledgeable when it comes to sports, and really so when it comes to boxing. He's not a shit talker. He's just more honest about it.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's a lot of currency in being a Stephen A. Smith. On air, we had a little weirdness because he was just saying, we didn't learn anything about Connor. I'm like, the fuck you didn't?
Yeah.
He just destroyed Cowboy in 40 seconds. Like, you learned something. You learned he could perform under the bright lights in a giant pay-per-view after more than a year and a half out of the game. Yeah, you learned something. You just don't know what you saw.
I want to ask you this, though, because it was funny because I could see your face in the middle of it all. How awkward is that for you to stand between the two of them and go, what are you guys fucking talking about?
Yeah,
like, I mean,
I would have preferred to talk to DC or Felder or you or anybody who understands the sport. I don't think it's the right way to do it. I have no problem with him as a human being.
No.
I just think, look, I don't know jack shit about baseball. I don't know jack shit about basketball. I literally don't even know the rules. I don't know when people foul people. I'm not sure why. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I know MMA. I understand it. So if you want to talk about MMA, I'd like to talk to MMA about someone else who knows MMA.
When I was listening to him talk and calling Cerrone basically a quitter, to me, I lost respect in the avenue that you're not supposed to be working in our sport.
Yes.
Okay. And you need to make some sort of adjustment, whether it's dick punching or something else, but you need to figure it out. You need to, like, I understand. I get that it's a good idea for all people that have never covered the sport to try to get into it. Okay. Maybe hold off on the videos like that for a while before you post them.
Yeah.
Here's the last part.
Whatever his forte is, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
I think he may have to stick with that. And I think I agree. They have to bring DC back in to work with you alongside.
Yes. Well,
he is phenomenal,
and me,
man.
yeah, DC's phenomenal. And DC and me having that conversation would have been a completely different conversation. And it would have been better for the sport because look, there's no positive in downplaying the career of Donald Cerrone or what he can do as a fighter. If either you or I was talking about cricket, we were on TV doing commentary on cricket, we would look out of place. It would be fucked up, and real cricket fans would be upset at us, right? Now that's nothing. That's just a sport, right?
Yeah.
You are naked in the most literal sense of the word. You're naked physically, you're naked emotionally. When fighters lose, it's fucking devastating. For Connor to smash Cowboy like that in front of his wife, his kid, his grandma, and then the whole world, like you got to have some respect for that man, you know. And this sport demands a different perspective. It's not the same thing as a ball going into a hoop. No. It's not the same thing as crossing a line with a football. It's different. It's very intense and very personal. And it's also very fucking dangerous. And to play it off like it's just a game, I don't agree with it. And I just think that we have plenty of fucking people out there that understand the sport. With fighting, like you have to know it or no one's going to respect you. If you don't know what you're talking about and you're talking about it in front of millions of people, like, man, that's a bad look for everybody.
Yep.
It's a bad look for ESPN. It's a bad look for him. It's a bad look for the sport. It's like, there's other people that can do this.
Yeah.
Man, they was spitting. They was clowning him. They was having fun with it, but they was spitting. This is facts. And like Nino said on the screen, he said, it took outsiders to say this about Stephen A. Smith, and basketball players should have been saying it the whole time, right? And I blame Chris Bosh because I remember when Jim Rome had his show, Jim Rome is Burning, and like his whole show was, this is before Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. Jim Rome had got popping before all of them. Jim Rome had a show, and he was trashing players. Like, that's the first dude that was like trashing people. Go look at some old Jim Rome is Burning footage and Google the Jim Rome versus Jim Everett. And Jim Everett was a quarterback. He played for the Rams. He was a journeyman. He played for a lot of other teams. And Jim Rome had been letting him have it, and he was calling him out of his name. I can't remember what he was saying to Jim Everett, but he was calling him out of his name. So Jim Everett came on his show, and he pretty much dared him to say it in his face. And Jim Rome was like, blah blah blah, whatever. And Jim Everett got up and laid them hands on him in the biblical sense. Well, not so much in the biblical sense. He laid them hands on him continuously, right? That's probably the last time he said something about Jim Everett. That's what you got to do. You got to protect your name, right? So I think it kind of died down. People was a little bit more respectable with players because a player, I mean, we bigger than y'all. I come knock you out. What is wrong with you? You playing with my name like that. And then Skip Bayless came along and he was just calling people out their name. And I remember when Chris Bosh was playing for the Heat, especially after they lost their first series to Dallas, Skip Bayless kept calling him Bosh Spice, like Posh Spice, like the Spice Girl. He was like, you're not rebounding, you're not getting rebounds, you're not scoring in the paint, you're playing soft. I call you Bosh Spice. And that was his thing. He was calling Chris Bosh Bosh Spice almost every other day. And Chris Bosh, I think, tweeted this when Twitter was first popping off. And I think he was saying, hey, man, hey, respect my name and all that stuff. And he was like, come on my show, come on my show. So Bosh come on the show, 6'11" Bosh, little short crypt keeper, Skip Bayless, standing face to face. And Chris Bosh tried to be nice and say, look, man, the Bosh name, we're very prideful about my name. It goes back to some prideful people. This name means something to me. I wear my name on my back for my whole family. And, you know, I would just ask you to be respectful to my name and call me what my name is. Figure out another way to critique me, but calling me something different than what Bosh is, that's disrespectful to my entire legacy and my entire family. And Skip Bayless looked this man in his face and said, no, I'm going to call you Bosh Spice whenever you play like Bosh Spice. And I was like, that's when you were supposed to hit him. That's when you were supposed to swing on him. You got to do something. Or don't come face to face with somebody and demand that they give you respect. And then they say, I'm not going to respect you. And you say, okay, and walk away. Now, I'm all good with, you know, you saying, nah, if I hit him, I'm brainless. But if you hit me, you famous. I get that. I get that whole thing. Right. And of course, the white guy, Jim Everett, knocking out Jim Rome probably wasn't going to end as harsh as a black guy hitting an old white guy like Skip Bayless. So maybe he was thinking. But I guarantee you, if he took one for the team and he put them paws on Skip Bayless, I think Skip Bayless would have calmed down on how he talk about these athletes. And I think there would never have been a Stephen A. Smith talking down the way he talks down on these athletes. I really do think that. Chris Bosh dropped the ball on national TV, dog. Google both of them. Google Jim Everett and Jim Rome, and Google Chris Bosh and Skip Bayless, and watch the differences in both of those things. Very different, right? But nonetheless, what Stephen A. Smith is trying to do is he's trying to take his style of trash talking, not knowing what he's talking about, but trash talking for entertainment. He's taking it to politics. And just like Joe Rogan said with MMA is too much of a real sport. It's real life. These people, he said, they're naked in a literal sense and in a figurative sense, vulnerable on the field, on the mat in front of millions of people, in front of their family, in front of their kids, getting their ass whooped. Like, your son got to see you get your tail whooped. Your wife got to see you get your tail whooped. That's different from you getting your shot blocked or getting the ball stolen from you or missing a game-winning shot. You still get to go home as a man. But if another man dominates you in the ring, I've seen men get knocked out and laid on top of and not lit up and have to tap out. Do you know how demoralizing it could be for someone to go home to a lady that they supposed to protect, knowing the whole world just seeing you get your lunch ate, including your kid? And you think they go stand and hear Stephen A. Smith telling them they quit and talking trash and not knowing nothing about the sport and can't fight? Stephen A. Smith got out of MMA to save his own life. I really believe that. Somebody would have knocked this man out. he had to get out of MMA. So he's trying to take that to politics. And politics is too much of a real life situation to have a clown in it using talking points and rhetoric and entertainment. It's not a circus, dog. Like real life people has been affected by this. He's got to they got to push him out of politics ASAP. All right, caller, what's up?
What's going on, man? This T-Ray, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling, man? What's your thoughts on this Stephen A. Smith stuff?
Well, I feel like it's the total opposite of what you're saying. They need him in politics. You got to look at the climate of what politics has become. It is a minstrel show. It's all about personalities. It's all about distractions. And what's a better distraction than a loud mouth, know-it-all that don't know nothing? And when you can push that out here on people, you're going to get some people that's going to draw into that. And then you're getting these sound bites, you're getting all this clickbait, and they want to do everything but focus on what's real. Because when you start focusing on what's real, we basically live in third world in a lot of ways. So you got to have some of these distractions. But Trump is the ultimate distraction. Say what you want to about him, like him or hate him. He's the ultimate distraction. And people would rather focus on him being the bad man and not liking him or being in love with him than to focus on our lives and the all of the stuff that's going on with our lives.
When you say they need Stephen A. or a guy like Stephen A., who is the they you talking about?
I'm talking about on a political platform.
Yeah, but who was the they?
Just as far as having him as the candidate out here.
Well, hold on. I'm all right. So us as everyday citizens, me and you, do we need Stephen A. Smith clowning on?
Oh, most definitely not. Most
okay,
definitely
so
not. We don't.
Who is the they that need it?
I'm saying for the people that generate this stuff, that present these politicians to us, they got to have this variety of a person that's
and the reason why I'm speaking on it is because he's only going to use those diminishing tactics to attack black politicians. Just like he only used it to attack black players.
Of course.
Okay,
of course,
so the reason why I'm bringing it up is because he needs to be ran out of politics if that's what he's going to be doing.
Well, you know what? He will be, but it won't be by us because we don't have the power. We don't stand on nothing, bro. Just think about it. He should have been done. He shouldn't even have the voice he has to destroy sports like he's done. But we don't stand on nothing. We allow it.
I mean, in a way, you're right, but it's not because we don't want to stand on it. It's because we don't have the power. No, it's not the power. We do have the power. We're divided. It seems like we don't have the power because we're divided. We can't even get everybody to agree that Stephen A. Smith is a bad thing in our community. Hold on. I'm gonna give you an example. All right. Kaepernick kneels. A whole movement was started. This was for police brutality. Kaepernick kneeled. A whole movement was started. NFL was against it. White America was against it. Right? Black America was for it. They bring out the clown Stephen A. Smith to talk down on Kaepernick. He tried his hardest to talk down on Kaepernick. Now, I remember family members and close friends and relatives split on the conversation. Kaepernick is doing something that's trying to draw awareness to something that's hurting our community, police brutality. You should stand by that. Most of my friends was like, "Oh, nah, I think like Stephen A. Smith, get your ass out there and play football and work. Don't be disrespecting the flag and kneeling for calls and all this. Don't do that." That was on Stephen A. Smith's side. Then when Jay-Z came in and was like, "We're done kneeling. Let's strike a deal with Roger Goodell." Everybody was on Jay-Z's side, and I'm like, man, who the hell raised these people? So we're split. So we can't even come to a decision as a group and say, this is the way we're going. Because if we did it, it'll work, right? Last thing I say about that, George Floyd, we out there in the streets. We marching, we protesting. We actually worked together for that cause. Then the NBA come out and was like, hey man, I think we want to daggone do a bubble for the NBA. And Kyrie Irving was like, no. We got an opportunity right now where we can make some noise because we're all on one accord right now. What clown did they parade out there now? LeBron said, oh nah, we going in the bubble. And when LeBron said we're going in the bubble, half the people follow him, or majority of the people follow him. There was still people like Avery Bradley, Kyrie Irving, Carmelo Anthony, Jonathan Isaac, who all said, nah, I'm not going in the bubble. Yeah, some of those guys stood on business, but most of those guys followed LeBron. So if we can't all agree on what a clown is and what a real cause is, that's why it seems like we don't have power. But if we all came together and said, no, we're not standing for it, it'll work. Stop being easily distracted by people like Stephen A. and LeBron. That's the issue. We don't know we don't know who the real people are that got our best interests at heart. That's the problem.
Okay, I give you that, but what I'm saying is, we've been compromised a long time. It was long before this, and you can go back into the civil rights movement and Malcolm X days and all of that. But the thing is, people don't tend to go towards the money, and that's basically what you're saying, because they took the route of, go to work and get your money. Don't worry about this. Do that. Mm-hmm. And it's sad because that's where our people are. And I just come to the conclusion that we're never going to be united because we've been distracted in so many ways amongst ourselves between dark skin, light skin, thick, short, thick, skinny.
But I'm gonna say this, bro. That I'm gonna move to the next caller because I'm trying to get through this. But I'm gonna say this. Right. I wouldn't say we never will be united, but unfortunately, for us to get reunited, it's got to get very bad, right? So if it gets very bad, where everyone knows for a fact that line drawn in the sand is the divider between people that hate us and people that don't, it's gonna be very clear, and it's gonna be hard not to unite. But thanks for the call, bro. I'm gonna get to this next caller. Thank you.
All right, bro.
All right. Caller from Texas, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Will? Just wanted to say I'm enjoying the show. I always do. I normally just watch, but I just wanted to say that Stephen A. is playing a role that a lot of other black folks, a lot of other black, I guess you can say talking heads play, where they basically trying to, I guess the gentleman said divide us, but I think it's more keep people uneducated. I can name a few other people that play the same role, but I'm from Texas and we love Jasmine Crockett down here. So the stuff that Stephen A. talking about is really just not even making sense. He's basically trying to. It seemed like he's trying to push Republicans, but at the same time he tried to come off like a centrist.
Correct.
I mean, Stephen A. just be all over the place.
All over the place, man. All over the place. So and listen, after he said that nonsense and everybody clowned him, he had to go back and do his research, and he tried to come back and clean it up on his podcast and say that Jasmine Crockett has written 287 bills, and she's only been in Congress for a short time. She's written 287 bills, and 10 of them has become a law. She's a former lawyer, right?
Facts.
And he had to come out and do his due diligence. And you mean to tell me you went and tried to trash her for not working before you actually did that research, and then you had to do that research after the fact and come and reshape your statement? That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And Jasmine Crockett way more educated than Stephen A. Smith. Like we can't even get into that, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like just pure madness, bro. Pure madness. Like I just wish he just stick to sports. And honestly, he need to leave that alone sometimes too.
Yeah, he need to leave. He need to leave sports, man. He need to go to the soap operas and just do that and play that role. Did you know?
What I'm saying?
Did you know he got Big Gangs fired down at Winston-Salem State? Big Gangs is a legend down there.
I did not know that.
Yes, so Big Gangs was old as hell, and you know what I mean. And he was still coaching. He was old. Stephen A. Smith was a journalist down there at Winston-Salem State. He was on the team. He wasn't getting playing time. This man wrote a story exposing Gangs, saying he was falling asleep on the bench during the game. Said he's too
That's
old.
insane, bro.
He said he's too. Google this. He said he's too old to hold this position as coach. And the article that he wrote got this man fired, dog.
Yeah, that's madness, bro. I don't even know what his role is, bro. Stephen A. Like sometimes I ain't gonna say I'm not entertained by him sometimes, but other times it's just like, bro, what are you even doing? Like, what's your purpose? You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go ahead and let you get to the next caller, bro. LeBron trash, of course, but enjoying the show, man. Keep cooking.
I'm glad you called in from Texas, man. I'm glad you called in to say, hey, y'all loved her down there, man, and I appreciate that perspective, man. Appreciate the call,
bro, for sure. Take it easy.
Yep. All right, I can get one more call, y'all. One more, and then we gotta move to Kevin Durant, y'all. One more call. Yeah, Stephen A. is crazy, man. Somebody Google that. What happened with big games down there in Winston-Salem State, man. This man wrote a daggone article. Caller from Texas, what's up? Y'all love Jasmine Crockett down there?
Man, you know we do.
Man, tell me something. Tell me something I don't know about Texas and Jasmine Crockett.
Hey, no. See, this is the thing. She's bold. She's intelligent. She's young, energetic. She's about that life. When I mean that life, she's in the books, them law books.
Yeah.
Like you said, how many bills she's written, how many have gone into law. The dude the Republicans got in over her committee, in the oversight committee, the one who was in that Ohio State wrestling sex scandal,
Sheesh.
the one that don't wear his jacket. He's the chairman of the committee. He has never put anything into law. He's never written a bill that's gone into law. See, that's what I'm saying. When you get these Sambos like Stephen A. Smith up here talking mess, I mean, again, like you said, if you decide you want to try to come out against somebody, at least do some research.
At least
do the bare minimum.
But he ain't been in an environment where he was forced to do research. He's able with basketball and football. He's able to just go out there and just try. Like that's why he don't talk much about NFL, because he don't have a lot of players he can just trash. Only thing he can do is pick on the Dallas Cowboys and be like, the Cowboys, and put his little cowboy hat on. That's it. That's his only gimmick.
Pump up Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers and trash the Cowboys.
That's all he got for the NFL. After that, he got to invite Cam Newton or Michael Irvin on. With basketball, he always pick a black player to target.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, brother. I appreciate you bringing this up, because this is we've had this conversation over the years. You know this about we've talked offline. We've talked about this type of stuff. When it comes to our sisters, we cannot allow them to be out there by themselves, because they're the most hated, the most you know what I'm saying? The public thinks they're number one. They think we're public property. That we're there to be abused. That's why the cops treat us the way they treat us. And all this other stuff is historical. But the point is, with our sisters, they got to know that we got our back. And for a black man or whatever the heck he is, I don't know if he's one of us, or if he's a first generation from the Caribbean or whatever. I don't know what his deal is.
His family from the islands. I think he's first generation.
I always got that vibe off of him, because that's how they do. That's some of the stuff they come out their mouth with. Because again, they don't really truly understand the struggle. They don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't have it in their bones. They don't have it on this land. They don't have the situation. So they like to take the colonizers, they want to do a job for the colonizers. Like you said, do a job for your boss. And so when it comes to us, we gotta stand up. We gotta be counted. Because like people need, you and I, we retired from the military. And I'm right now horrified. We got military people in U.S. cities.
Bro, we
you and I both know.
And we also got military people standing in the welfare line too.
Exactly.
Because they was about to miss a paycheck. And look, and we also got military people that's retired that don't know if they go come after that. They talking about coming after Social Security. I wonder, can they retroactively take people retirement check? Because I heard in Project 2025, they're trying to make it to where if you collect disability and a retirement check from military that you can't get both. So I guess they go offset at some point.
Well, I don't know how they're gonna do that because that's a law. That was passed.
Bro,
law.
you know how many laws they
So,
breaking?
Brother, I'm with you. No, trust me. I do not doubt. Like I said, I'm horrified with what's been going on right now. But the thing is, with these black conservatives, especially these jokers on YouTube, the communities understand who we're dealing with. All right, they're making money off of this stuff. See, if you go at the black community, or in this case, a black woman, that's how you can monetize. That's the easiest. See, they don't. If you ever notice, whenever they start talking, they ain't got nothing. They ain't got no kind of solutions. All they're gonna come up with say something about responsibility, take accountability, or some BS like that.
Correct.
Not even understanding what the situation is.
Correct. Understanding
accountability. What the hell? You act like these people have property. You act like these people don't have generational wealth.
They using Stephen A. Smith like they used to use Jesse Jackson. As soon as something happened, Rodney King get beat up, we start riots, and hey, Jesse Jackson, man, do what we pay you to do, and get out there and say a speech that's gonna calm your people down. And
but I mean, they got them. They out there. But I'm talking like especially on this YouTube, the YouTube streets. You got a lot of people that are out there monetizing this stuff. Was them freaking twins that don't seem to know how to get the edges right, the lineup right. You got this dude named Stevie somebody or other. He's a straight up buster.
I seen him too. Yeah. I know. I don't seen all them dudes, man. I know who they is.
Yeah, like I said, but we gotta. I appreciate what you're doing, man. Seriously, because like this is some stuff right here. This is some stuff right here that's got to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I tried to stay away from it, man. I watched it for 2 weeks in a row and was like, man, I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that, man. I don't want to lose my the people that show up for sports, man. I don't want to sour the milk and start talking about this serious stuff, man. So
sometimes we gotta get serious, brother.
Yeah.
Sometimes gotta get serious, man. And again, I'm not trying to throw everybody in the same, saying everybody's like, everybody from the Caribbean or from Africa or whatever but they ain't like us.
Y'all,
you know what I'm saying? They ain't got it in the bones.
You ever wonder
in the bones like us?
Let me ask you this, Jeff, before you go. You ever wonder how the Reverend Al Sharpton or the Reverend Jesse Jackson got their money? Like they ain't had no job and they was reverends with no church.
No. Jesse Jackson did have a church.
When?
In Chicago. No, he did.
He preached there?
Chicago. Yeah.
I ain't know that.
No, he did.
Okay.
I mean, but you got to remember Chicago, you have, it's a like a triangle thing. You had Jesse Jackson, you had Farrakhan, and I think his name was Wright, Reverend Wright, the one that was Obama's preacher.
Mm-hmm.
They were like that was a mecca for things. And again, I get what you're saying when it comes to Jesse about some stuff, but no, see Jesse, he
messy Jesse.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that pissed me off about him. He got messy there at the end, had a baby out of wedlock and stuff, and that kind of threw me off because I'm basically one of those people that believe you preach it, you need to live it type thing. But anyway, but his thing was more along the lines of moving things forward progressively. So I give him that. But yeah, you're right. There were some things, but these progressive, these conservative ones, they're just here to sell us out. They're here to monetize off of us.
That's a fact.
For the white man, up here talking about Charlie Kirk was such a good guy.
Right, look, don't even bring that name up, man. Don't even bring that name up. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, well, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Hey, but yeah, I appreciate you bringing it up, brother.
No, for sure, man. Thanks for the call.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Out here.